When you think of AM radio, what comes to mind? Probably some dusty old dial on your grandpa's car, right? A total relic. But what if I told you that this so-called outdated technology is actually a critical piece of infrastructure that modern cities, well, they should be fighting to preserve? Let's get into why the resilience of AM radio is, believe it or not, more important than ever. So that's the big question, isn't it? Is AM radio just obsolete? On the surface, the answer seems pretty obvious. We live in a world of crystal clear streaming music and sharp FM signals. It feels like AM's time has come and gone. But as you're about to see, the real story here is way more complex than that. And here's the debate in a nutshell. On one side, you've got engineers at places like Tesla who see AM as just a big hassle. It's really tough to shield it from all the electronic noise in modern EVs, so you know what? They're just ripping it out. But on the other side, you've got public safety officials, like an FCC commissioner, who see it as something that is absolutely vital. Okay, so to really get why some people are ready to ditch AM, we have to talk about its weaknesses. Let's be real. The listening experience can be, well, less than perfect. All that static, all that buzzing, there are some very real technical reasons for that. So what's the deal with all that static anyway? Well, it all comes down to how AM radio actually works. It's designed to listen for changes in the strength or the amplitude of a radio wave. Think of it like this. Imagine someone's talking in a quiet room. If another person suddenly shouts, it gets really hard to hear the original speaker, right? That's basically what's happening to an AM radio signal. Any random burst of energy can get mixed up and misinterpreted as part of the broadcast. And our modern world is just full of that electronic shouting. Everything from the electric motor in your car to the LED light bulbs in your house, even the power supply for your computer, it all creates interference. To a simple AM receiver, all of that just sounds like static because it's trying to decode all that random energy as if it were the actual broadcast. Heck, even a lightning strike is just one giant burst of amplitude. So here's the crucial thing. This isn't just a physics problem, it's a priority problem. For a lot of designers, AM radio has been at the bottom of the list for years. They'll use cheaper components, and they just don't bother to engineer the proper filtering. And that means even when you can get a signal, the quality is often terrible. It kind of becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of decline. But while some engineers have been dismissing AM radio, public safety officials have been banking on its hidden strengths. This is where we build the case for why it needs to be preserved, especially for anyone in charge of a city's safety. Now, that is not a small statement. Think about what that really means. When digital networks get totally overloaded during a crisis, or when cell towers go down in a hurricane, or when there's a massive power grid failure, the emergency alert system falls back on the simple, tough, robust technology of AM radio. It is the ultimate failsafe. And this is why it's so reliable. The big, old, historic AM stations, they weren't just built to play hit songs. They were built like absolute fortresses. We're talking about huge backup generators that can run for days on end, buildings physically hardened to withstand an electromagnetic pulse, spare equipment just sitting there, ready to go. This is heavy-duty stuff, designed to stay on the air no matter what. But AM radio is more than just an emergency lifeline. It also has this really unique, almost magical ability to connect entire communities and cultures, especially after the sun goes down. Yeah, this is just a fascinating bit of physics. See, at night, a layer in the Earth's atmosphere changes, and it starts to reflect AM signals instead of just absorbing them. This lets the signal from a really powerful station literally bounce between the sky and the ground over and over, letting it travel just incredible distances. And this quote just brings that science to life, It's not just about physics, it's about people. Think about it. Someone who grew up in St. Louis could retire and move all the way down to Florida or out to Texas and still be able to tune in at night to hear the live broadcast of the Cardinals baseball game from their hometown station. That's a shared cultural pipeline that connects an entire region. And this is the kind of raw power that makes it happen. 50,000 watts. That is the maximum power that a commercial AM station is even allowed to have in the United States. You combine that immense energy with that nighttime bounce effect, and you create a signal that can cover a huge portion of the country. So, let's bring this all together. What does all this mean for, say, a city planner or an emergency manager, or really anyone who's trying to build resilient communities in the 21st century? For city planners, the argument really boils down to three key things. Number one, unmatched reliability. It's simple, it's tough, and it works when the fancy digital networks fail. 2. Maximum reach. It is the best way to get information out to those distant rural communities and to people who are on the road late at night. And third, cultural cohesion. It's that shared pipeline connecting a whole region with news, sports, and important information. Look, our digital and FM networks are amazing, but they are also incredibly complex, they can be fragile, and they totally depend on the internet and cell service to work. AM is the exact opposite. It's simple, it's robust, and it has its own completely independent infrastructure. A truly resilient modern city needs both. It needs that complex digital layer, but it also needs that tough-as-nails analog backbone. So the next time you hear somebody call AM radio obsolete, maybe it's worth asking this question. In an age where our digital world feels more and more fragile, can we really afford to just throw away the one mass communication network that was built from the ground up to survive pretty much anything? It's definitely something we should all be thinking about.